What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing the longest race I've ever done on an F1 2019 game. We are taking on the ultimate challenge in F1 2019 endurance racing. We're going to be doing a full 100% Singapore Grand Prix. If you want to join in these 100% races, we are doing them every single weekend. So go follow me over on my Twitch channel and also on my Twitter. I've got a poll running at the moment for which track we will be doing across the next weekend. But here we go, 100% Singapore, 61 laps await us, nearly 2 hours of racing. It's 5 lights and away we go. And because I'm really petty, I wanted to make this a last and first challenge. A couple of people were starting behind me, so I had to let them back through to make myself go back down into 20th place. But nevertheless, we're now making moves through the field. We're right behind this trio of cars. We have to avoid a couple of cars getting tangled up with each other there, but we managed to get away with it. No front wing damage at the moment. I feel like that's the best thing to do in one of these races. The Williams loses the back end on this on the curve onto the long straight, so we've got past him very nicely indeed, and then that moves us up into P at 19. But like I was saying, you just got to sort of keep your wing clean in these sorts of races. It's a long way to go. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's like go for a move there around the outside of the racing point and then get the better exit off the corner and into this left-hander. Job done. Up into P18. 2 positions gained off the opening lap as we've got the McLaren of Ben Wilmot ahead of me at the moment as well. He's going side by side with an Alfa Romeo, as it looks like the Mercedes there of Matles has got it a little bit wrong. He's got into the wall and he is out of this race. So our first victim of the 100% Singapore Grand Prix. It brings out the virtual safety car. We then move on to the start of lap 2 as we now hunt down the McLaren of Ben Wilmot. He bangs into the wall there. We nearly get caught up with that. We just about avoid him. A much better exit, and that moves us up in a P15 now in this race. Ben Wilmot, though, having a little look, brakes very late. And we were actually quite lucky to not get taken out by Ben Wilmot on the brakes, but nevertheless, P15 at the moment, making our way through the field. 5 positions gained so far in this race, and up next is the Renault of Trivia. And it looks like we get a much greater exit than the Renault. We have a look up the inside into the Singapore Sling. We brake later than the Renault. Great move up the inside there, and as you go on to see, it might be a good overtaking spot for us as the race goes on. But talking about the race, we're starting from last. We're not exactly that competitive in terms of F1 2019 running. So if I can get maybe into the top 5, something like that, I think that'll be a great race at the end of the day as we're looking to go battle with Ed the Survivor. He doesn't really give me a lot of room there on the inside, so I have to back out of it. He's on a fresher, well, actually, no, not fresh. We're all on the same length of tyres, but he is on the softer tyres, so much better exit there from Ed the Survivor, but not a great exit off that corner. We get in the slipstream. We have a little look to the inside, but he covers that very well. So we then have a look around the outside, but once again, Ed the Survivor, really good at closing the door. Not really doing anything illegal, not pushing us off the track, just not really giving us enough room and just telling us that if you try it, you're not going to get through. My car is going to be in the way. So that was great defending there from Ed the Survivor, but nonetheless, he doesn't get the greatest of exits off the corner. We then put it into rich mix, up into overtake, and the greatest straight line speed gets the job done. Under braking into left-hander, and we move into P13 now of this race. 3 laps in out of 61 laps. We've still got a long way left to go in this race. We now go on to lap 4 in this race. As you can see, we're a little high on fuel at the moment, so we're going to have to run leader as we go very late on the brakes. Oh no, that's into the barrier. And we've got a little bit of front wing damage now, which is really going to hurt us as this race goes on. Well, it won't actually be too bad. When it comes to Singapore, the only tricky corners when it comes to front wing damage is the last corner, because that's the only real high-speed one. It looks like Joe Aeterno has got caught up a little bit in this race as well. He's my teammate in this race. We're both on the comms together, so I've got to thank Joe for taking part in this 100% race alongside me, making it a little less boring, keeping me sane as I was going on, but that helped me move up a position. And I gained a few more positions as a couple of drivers came into the pits as I lose the back end big time there out of that right-hander, and that allows Viper to get a fairly easy overtake on myself. I believe he was one of the leaders who started on soft tyres, and he's come into the pits for a fresh set of medium. So that is why he is now coming back through past me. So he's doing really well to be ahead of me with a pit stop in hand. But I'm going to catch up here as I'm going to come into the pit under the virtual safety car. The virtual safety car has come out. We're down to 17 runners now in this race. So virtual safety car out. I'm going to gain on everybody who has pitted during normal running. And I'm going to pit very early, in fact, because I was supposed to come into pits on lap 24 on these medium tyres. But I'm going to go very early. I'm going to go onto another set of mediums and try and extend them for as long as I possibly can. And hopefully have enough tyre life to take them into a position where I can take maybe softs for the last 15 laps or so. So these mediums, I've got a mammoth task ahead of them. But I didn't want to go on the hards because I just felt like they wouldn't have enough grip. They were going to be too cold and I was going to really struggle as the race goes on. But coming out of the pits now, coming out of the pits P9 and ahead of Aeterno. So I've really gained on Aeterno quite a bit. But a little lapse of concentration. We don't look at the delta. And now we've got a drive-through penalty. And as you can see from my face in the top left, was not happy with that. Really, just a big scream of no at that point. But I took it on the chin. We're going to have to come into the pits for the drive-through penalty. So we're just going to push on these fresh set of medium tyres. And it took us 2 laps before we served the drive-through. We were going to wait the full 3 laps, but we caught up to Hoopalicious quite quickly. And we didn't really want to lose too much time. So we decided, let's come into the pits. Let's serve this drive-through now. And then hopefully get back into some more free air. And yeah, try and put in the lap times, because as you can see, we're going purple through sector 1. The previous couple of laps we were going purple through sector 2 and sector 3 as well. So definitely quick on this fresher set of tyres. I do feel like I've got good pace around here to maybe catch up to the front runners of the top 5. So that is my aim for today, to get into the top 5 in this race, as we're going to come out of the pits after serving my drive-through in P12. Try not to shoot over the white line, because we don't want to get any more penalties in this race. It's a long race. I have a sneaky suspicion that a lot of drivers are going to get penalties as the race goes on. It's a long race, as it looks like we're going to go up the inside once again on Trivia into the Singapore Sling. What a move. It just seems to be our favourite overtaking spot on Trivia. We've done it on Joe. No, we haven't done it on Joe. We got past Joe because he crashed into the wall. But the virtual safety car out once again. Unfortunately, this is because Aza is out of the race. That then takes us down to 15 runners. And it looks like somebody else has dropped down, as that's taken us down to 14. As we cut ahead now to lap 31. So the halfway stage of this Singapore GP is, it looks like Hoopalicious is right on my tail now. He's pitted and he's caught right back up. He's on a fresh set of medium tyres. He goes for the inside line, but we outbrake him there on our older tyres, in fact. So very good braking from myself. And look who is ahead of me. It's Aeterno, really struggling on his tyres now. He pitted very early on, earlier than me. I think it was like maybe lap 4 or maybe a slightly later than that. But he's been on those mediums for a very long time now. And once again, look at that. Into the Singapore Sling. A fairly easy overtake on Aeterno. And then that moves us up into P5. This is where we wanted to be. We wanted to be in the top 5, but we are only halfway through this race. So there is a long way left to go. There is a long way left to go in this race. So plenty of time for us to make mistakes, other people to overtake us, as Hoopalicious now goes up the inside into this left-hander. It looks like he might get the job done. We're going to stick our nose in there as we go through the right-hander, still side by side with Hoopalicious, but on the freshest set of tyres, he gets the greater traction, greater exit, and into the dirty air we go. And unfortunately, a spin for us, which was really frustrating. Still, right now, I'm unsure why that happened, and we actually stopped there because we thought that we weren't going to ghost, and the Renault was going to drive into us instead of through us. But luckily, the game did realise that I was in a little bit of trouble, ghosted me, and we did not compromise the Renault driver's race. Unfortunately, though, it looks like somebody else has. It looks like he's made contact maybe with the Williams driver there, as the wall is sticking out as well on the exit of that corner. That's going to be an issue as the race goes on. But Boxer Frog has made a mistake. We've moved up past him. He's also probably going to have front wing damage there. And the virtual safety car is back out on lap 36 of this race. And I was going slowly because I had a dilemma ahead of me. So I needed to come into the pits at some point to go onto either the softs or the hards. I didn't really want to go onto the hards because, as I said, they're really going to struggle here. So I decided very last minute, do you know what? What we're going to do is we're going to go for softs and then softs again. We're going to go for 2 sets of softs because softs, I think, last maybe about 15 laps max. around this track. So we were going to go for maybe 12 laps on each tyre and see how that goes. But into the pits we go for a set of soft tyres. Unfortunately holding up Boxer Frog as we were taking a bit of time to make up our mind there. I believe in a 100% race you have about a maximum of 6 safety cars and virtual safety cars. So there is the potential for one more, because I believe at this point we've had 5 of those at the moment. So 37 laps into this 100% race around Singapore as we come out just behind Stanley in the Alfa Romeo, who looks like he's got past Ayrton here. We're now right behind Ayrton, who unfortunately is not being a good teammate. He's not letting me through. We're racing for each other for a position, which is fair enough, even though we do have to still make a pit stop in this race, because there is no way our tyres can go 24, 25 laps in this race. But Ayrton really holding me at the moment, because we were catching up onto these two rather quickly as he cuts across the corner there. But Stanley is now giving him the opportunity to get away from us. He's on, I think, soft tyres as well. He's doing a similar strategy to myself, I believe, as we are right behind Ayrton coming through the last couple of corners. We're going to need a great exit of this final corner if we want to maybe try and get him down in towards turn 1, or we're going to have to wait till the next straight. But look at that, much greater exit than Ayrton on these fresher, softer tyres. We go up the inside, down in towards turn 1, and it's a fairly easy overtake on my teammate. He didn't really make it too difficult for me. He did at the start, but in terms of once he knew that I was side by side, had the better tyres, he thought, you know what, let's not do it, because at the end of the day, I still have to make a pit stop. There is still a chance for him to come back into this race, as we're right behind Stanley now, really pushing him right on his rear as we come around the final corner. And the safety car has been deployed. This is massive for us. I was slightly hesitant about coming into the pits or not, because we've only got soft tyres to take us a whole 22 laps in this race, which is a long time. It is a long time around here, especially when these tyres can maximum do 15 laps. So we were really unsure, but I was live on Twitch at this time, and the chat decided that this was my best bet, to go on soft tyres instead of going on hards till the end. And as you can say, I'm not too sure at the moment whether it's going to work or not, but they told me to put my diff down into 50 and really just work on trying to allow the rear tyres to last as long as they possibly could, because that's what's going to hurt me the most. The traction zones around this track and getting the tyres moving. So that was my best bet, to try not to spin up the rears as much as possible. But we're coming to the end of the safety car now. Everybody's really bunched up. We're just outside the top 5, which is where we want to be. But maybe, now we are this close, there could be a chance of a podium, maybe even a win. We don't know the ability of the guys up top. But a really weird safety car restart, as the guys really sort of shoot off and then slow down. I was really quite frustrated with that, because I had to really slow down. Unfortunately, I made a mistake. I put it into neutral, which meant I got an even worse sort of getaway. But these guys are battling really, really hard with each other. So that's allowed Hoopalicious to get out of shape and put me right on his rear. Stanley's got past his teammate, and it looks like the racing point of Ace and Peterson is getting really raced as well. His Hoopalicious has a little look up the inside into this kink. That will give him the outside line, though, into the next corner. We have a little look up the inside, decide against it, decide to back out, cut the corner ever so slightly just to avoid these two, as there's contact there between myself and Hoopalicious. We go round the outside of the right-hander. It's a fantastic move. Hoopalicious goes for a spin. There was no contact between the two of us. I looked back on the replays. Unfortunately, he just spun the car himself, so I'm now looking to catch up to Stanley in this race. You can see the barrier is really sticking out there on the left-hand side, so we're catching up to Stanley now, and Freeware, who's actually leading this race, and unfortunately, they're getting a 3-second time penalty. But as I said, that's my first time penalty of today. And as I said earlier, I feel like a lot of drivers are going to get time penalties as the race goes on. It's a long race. It's nearly 2 hours long. Surely these guys are going to have penalties too. As Freeware and Stanley go side by side into the Singapore Sling. Freeware hits the wall. The man who was leading the race from the start has made contact with a barrier. And now it's going to really put him. It's put him at the back of this huge train that has got like 5 drivers in it battling for third now. So this could give me a great chance to get on the podium, starting from last at this 100% Singapore Grand Prix. I've hit the barrier once in this race. I can actually tell you I have a little bit of front wing damage from the contact that I had with Hoopalicious, but it's only small. It's only going to affect me in the final 2 corners, so I just have to be a little bit wary of that. Lift up slightly more than Stanley, so I'm right on the tail of Stanley at the moment, really putting him under pressure. I felt with Stanley He was good when he was behind me, when he was the attacker, but when he was defending, he was slightly worse than me, and he allowed the pressure to overcome him. But here we go, having a look now around the outside of Stanley. We go side by side down in towards turn 1. Stanley very late on the brakes there, and it looks like it's going to be a fairly easy overtake for myself to move myself onto the podium. If I can hold on to this, this would be an absolutely fantastic race indeed. But Stanley will get into the DRS zone. He's going to have DRS. He's going to be in rich mix. He's going to be in overtake. He's going to go for it maybe down in towards this left hand. He's going to have to go the long way round, but he's got ahead of us before we even get to the braking zone. And there we go, Stanley reclaiming his position. We have a little look around the outside, but Stanley doesn't show us the door as we now go in towards the left-hander. Try around the outside there, still can't do it, but it looks like he's maybe put it down into a lower ERS mode. We get a much greater exit than Stanley around the outside, this time into Singapore's thing. We're still side by side as we go into the right-hander. We make contact there with Stanley, and then there's a Renault on a right-hand side. We go free wide momentarily, lots of contact between the three of us. We seem to come out of it unscathed. I did feel bad about the moves. I was very late on the brakes through the right hand. I was trying to move over to the right to allow Stanley the room and not force him into the barrier and give him back the position. But unfortunately, the Renault just sort of came out of nowhere and didn't allow me to do that and sort of squeeze Stanley into the barriers. But he carries on. He's got I don't know if he's got much front wing damage. He might just have the same as me, but on the left-hand side. But he's currently in 4th position, again, hunting me down. Like I said, he seems to do better when he is attacking. He's also, the mediums are starting to come into their own at this point of the race. Our softs are starting to wear out at a significant rate as we try to look around the outside, but Stanley, very wise to that. He closes the door just enough not to put me into the wall, but to show me that I cannot come through there and I have to back off. And unfortunately, Stanley holds on to P3 for the time being by quite a bit, as you can see the gap just slowly extending as we go on to lap 53 of this 61 lap race. Losing the back end slightly there allows Stanley to get even further away from us, but he clips the wall. Stanley goes round. We lose the back end, make more contact with Stanley there, but that puts us now back into the podium positions. How has that changed so quickly? Stanley looks so comfortable. I think he just touched the wall ever so slightly on the outside of the corner, which is really unfortunate for Stanley. But now we go on to lap 57 of 61. Let's look at the tyre wear. 61% wear on that rear right. That's bad. That is atrocious at this stage of the race, and it's only going to get worse as the last couple of laps go on. And what makes it worse is Freeware, after making a collision with the wall, pitted for fresh soft tyres and is absolutely rapid in this race. He is really closing in on us as the last few remaining laps go on. And as we come down into the hairpin now, look in our mirrors. Freeware is right on our tail. We know because Joe actually crashed out in this race, unfortunate for him. He then became my race engineer, and he is telling me at the moment that Freeware has 6 seconds of time penalty. I have 3 seconds of time penalty, which means that I need to be within 3 seconds of Freeware. But he is so fast right now at this stage of the race. If I let him through, he would easily extend to over 3 seconds in that gap. So I have to fight him. I have to fight for this position. I need to throw everything at Freeware to try and keep him back and stop him from overtaking me. And I was quite smart at this stage of the race. I decided not to get past the lap driver of Kandra. I get the DRS down that straight, but again, as you can see, I was really closing up on Kandra, and I should have really got him out of the corner here, but I just sort of waited, allowed myself to get the DRS zone, and then got past Kandra into the next couple of corners to make sure that if Freeware was going to get past, it wouldn't be down this straight. I put it into rich mix, I put it into overtake. Freeware, he's behind me at the moment. He is gaining because he is in the slipstream, but I don't really show him the inside line too much. He has a little look, but Freeware does sort of back out of it. I do run wide, which is a little bit cheeky of me, but I really wanted to hold on to this position. So please, guys, just forgive me on that. Don't worry about it. As Freeware has a little look around the outside, but now down into the Singapore thing. He had a great opportunity, in all fairness, to go up the inside, but I think he was just a little bit... his confidence was knocked from the earlier incident that he had with Stanley, and he knows that he has got better tyres than me, and he knows he is quicker than me, so he knows that he can do it at a safer spot. So he decides against it. As you can see, he go very defensive into the hairpin, because again, he was just having little looks at every single corner. So I just had to make sure I held off the line. I had a great exit, in all fairness, out of that corner. Much better than Freeware, and that allowed him not to go for the overtake down that straight and into the right hand. And here, there's not really too many opportunities to overtake. I just had to make sure that I hit every single apex around this last sector, because there's no real room to go for an overtake, especially for Freeware. He's a really good, really clean driver. So all fairness to Freeware, I fully respect that. He didn't really go for any sort of dive bombs because he was a smart driver. He knows if he's going to get it done, he can do it down a straight. As we come into the final corner, again, really having to lift off. Freeware, though, wasn't exactly the quickest through that corner either, so I was wondering whether maybe he was struggling with a little bit of front wing damage as well. As he has a look around the outside, down in towards turn one. We hold the inside line, still side by side with Freeware, but once again, holding the inside line and then covering off the exit on the inside, so he could not do the switchback maneuver on us. But now through this right-hander, this is where the tires are really starting to get away from us. We couldn't get the exit out of that corner that we wanted. Freeware with the DRS on us. He's going to go around the inside, then the outside for this corner, but he gets the job done before we even get there. We just don't have the tires to brake late enough. So the last lap of the race, all I need to do is stay within 3 seconds of Freeware. Now that sounds easy, but this guy is so quick. Just look at the gap that he is going to extend. Just at this point, at the Singapore Sling, he only got past us a couple of corners ago, and it looks like he's already extended to just under a second in this race. He's got just under a second gap, I feel, at this stage of the race. So I need to make sure that that doesn't get over 3 seconds. If it does, we've lost out on the podium. I mean, P4 from last in a 100% race is still a great result, but if there's a podium fight to be had after defending so hard in the last couple of laps, I'm going to try and hold on to it. As Freeware again really boots it away in the exit of these corners. Now into the last sector again. Just need to nail every single apex. No mistakes through this last sector. Ace M. Peterson takes the victory. The fireworks are spraying, but will we be spraying champagne on the podium? Will we get that third position as we take it really cautious through the last couple of corners, through this left-hander? We just couldn't get the power down. It was such a struggle. Do we do it?
Come on, come on.
Yes! Get in! Get in!
Get in there.
Oh, what a race. My hands are all shaky. What an incredible race that was. 100%. Nearly 2 hours of running. We started last. Okay, we started 18th, but we dropped down to last, and then we worked our way back up, and we got onto the podium after a fantastic battle with Freeware. I just want to say huge congratulations to Freeware. Great race from him. Really clean drive, and I fully respect that. And I want to thank everybody who actually took part in that race. Even if you didn't make it to the end, thank you for taking part, for being as clean as you could. And if any of you guys want to take part in these 100% races, I'm going to be doing one every Saturday and one every Sunday at varying tracks. There is currently a poll, as I said, over on my Twitter, so I will link that, and I will link my Twitch so you guys can come join in on the fun with us. But yeah, huge respect to everyone at Ace McPeterson for getting the race win as well. So absolutely fantastic from him. But thank you everybody who has been watching today's 100% race around Singapore. I love these races. I did Baku with team at Marduk the other day, which was absolutely fantastic. We managed to get on the podium in a 100% race around Singapore. I think it was like 1 hour and 49 minutes, I think, something like that at the end. So absolutely incredible. Only one safety car, and that's why it didn't go over the 2 hour mark. Otherwise, if they were all safety cars, it would have gone over the 1 hour mark. But I'm quite curious to know, what track would you like to see us go to in a 100% race? Of course, there is a poll on at the moment. We've done Baku, we've done Singapore, but let me know what tracks you'd like to do next, and maybe we can do that for, if not this weekend coming, for the weekend after that. Because as I say, I'm going to be doing every single weekend up until 2020's release, and then of course I'm going to be doing it on the 2020 game, which will start off, I've already confirmed the 2 tracks that we're going to do. Of course, we're going to start off with Zandvoort and Hanoi. Of course, we're going to do the new 2 tracks that are on the calendar. But thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and I'll see you again next time.